одно из самых необычных мест во всей Канаде. Эта галерея под открытым небом носит название Screaming Heads, что в переводе на русский значит...
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies for the delay this morning. We've been having some technical difficulties. Thank you for your indulgence. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and a provincial order limiting attendance at public gatherings. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx, an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching it on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you mute your devices until you are called on to speak. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto was covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Alan Smithies, and I will chair today's meeting. Joining us on the panel today are Asif Khan, Nadini Sankar Peralta, and Nazila Adarati West. Also present today are our city staff, Daniel Antonacci, Simon Lamb, Jenny Kotas, Kelly Reed, and Adam Wills. At this time, I would like to take a moment to celebrate the life of Ms. Denise Graham, a member of this committee who passed away suddenly on July 9th after a brief struggle against cancer. Ms. Graham retired from a 34-year career as a community planner with the City of Toronto Planning Department, and since 2015, this committee enjoyed the privilege of her extensive experience, grace, humor, and wisdom during her tenure with the Committee of Adjustment. On behalf of this committee, I extend our sincere condolences to her family. We will miss you, Denise. Ms. Sankar, I believe you would like to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As many of you know, Denise has been a really kind and skillful planner, very compassionate and caring on a personal side. And I acknowledge that she's left behind her husband, Alan, and her son, Ryan, whom she adored and spoke really highly of. And today in this hearing, Denise, we honor the work you have done and with your kind contributions as a beautiful person in general. Your spirit is with us always. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone in attendance today who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision on an application must submit a written request for the decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because Committee of Adjustment and the T-Lab will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, T-Lab, or in some limited circumstances to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the committee's decision. The hearing procedure is as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the applicant or agent will proceed with their presentation if required. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, is given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute limit. When addressing the committee, please state clearly your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters described in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee of the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. In order to ensure that a revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes, the committee may decide to defer the application if it is substantially revised. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application are invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of all discussion. The application is then taken into committee for a decision. Now, we have minutes from our previous meeting of the 23rd of June, 2020. Could I have a motion to adopt those minutes, please? Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I motion to approve those minutes.
Thank you very much. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Khan seconds. Well, actually, I'll have to do that because I don't believe Mr. Khan was there, but I will second that motion as well, so those minutes are adopted. With respect to, are there any members here this morning who have any conflicts of interest that they'd like to declare? Okay, thank you very much. I noticed that there is an application that we have to defer, and that is, I'm advised by the Secretary Treasurer that the application at 19 APSLEY Road needs to be deferred. The notice needs to be revised. There are revisions that were made to it that are not reflected in the notice that was submitted. So if I could have a motion from the committee. Okay, thank you. Is there any is there anyone to speak on this motion to defer at 19 APSLEY Road? Is there any members of the public? There were people registered to speak on the application today. We had 4 people registered. Are any of these individuals, would they like to speak to the matter of a deferral? I'll check with Nushin Mozafari. Are you there, sir?
This is me. Yes, I'm here. My name is Mehdi Azman. Today I'm talking on behalf of my colleague as the architect of project. She couldn't attend in a meeting. I just wanted to ask for deferral for this application since we did some back and forth with planning.
Okay, so you're the agent. You're the one requesting the deferral, correct? Yes. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Is a Mr. Peter Nicholson there?
Mr. Chair, we have not reached a Peter Nicholson.
Okay, thank you. Is Ms. Sheila Harrison there? Ms. Harrison?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, the applicant, this application needs to be deferred. There's a matter of insufficient notice. Do you have an objection to the deferral?
No, we're in agreement with the request for deferral.
Madam, can you speak up? We're having a hard time hearing you.
We are in agreement with the request for deferral.
Okay, thank you. Next on our list is Mr. Andrew Mckay. Sir, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Do you have any objections to the deferral request?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We have no other speakers listed. Could I get a motion on the deferral, please? Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I will motion to defer item number 8, 19 APSLEY Road, just so that they can have more chance to provide the notice that's necessary to the public.
Thank you very much. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion. Ms. Adarati seconds, and I notice Mr. Khan's in favor. That motion carries. Sir, the applicant, Mr. Muzafari, your application has been deferred until the next available meeting for the purposes of resubmitting a revised notice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now proceed to the next item on our agenda, which is first item on our agenda, which is Item number 1, 1170 Wilson Avenue. I have one speaker registered on this topic, which is Mr. Zaid El-Mubarak. Is that, I hope I got that name correct.
Yes. Yeah, that's
Sir, I just wanted to ask, have you had the opportunity to read the report from Transportation Services? They're indicating that your drawings are insufficient and they require more information.
I didn't receive anything from the city regarding.
Sir, I can't hear you.
I didn't receive anything from the city.
Sir, I can't hear you.
I didn't receive anything from the city.
Did you? Okay, it's on file with the committee documents. So what they're asking for is, I will go to the transportation report. They're indicating that Transportation Services cannot provide comments on the above variance based on the site plan drawings submitted. They require additional supporting documents listed below. Basically, your plans are insufficient, sir. You don't show where the parking is. You don't show any landscaping. You don't show any property lines. So they're indicating they can't comment effectively on the application. Would you like to defer the application so that you can consult with Transportation Services? Sir, are you there? We've lost Mr. El-Mubarak.
Hello? Do you hear me now?
Sir, are you there?
Hello? Yes, I'm here.
So would you like to defer your application to discuss with Transportation Services?
Yes, I'd like that, but I didn't receive anything from the city.
Mr. Chairman, all information is posted online. It's up to the applicants to view AIC. We don't send it to them.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. So you're requesting a deferral?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Could I get we have the applicant is requesting a deferral. We have no other speakers registered to speak on this item. Can I get a motion on this application, this deferral application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I motion to defer this application to give the applicant a chance to discuss these concerns with transportation.
Thank you very much. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application's been deferred to the next available meeting so that you can discuss the issues with Transportation Services. And please look at the memorandum that's attached to your file. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 2, 46 KAPPELE Avenue.
Yes, Ali Shakiri here.
Yes, sir. I'm just, are you Mr. Shakiri?
Yes, I am.
I hope I got your last name correct.
Yes.
Let me just take a moment here. You have 2 variances before us. It's very clear what you're asking for. We have no comments from city planning, or with the exception of urban forester, we have no other comments from any other city division on your application. We have no one registered to speak on this item. Could I get a motion on the application unless the committee has any questions? Ms. Adarati?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I want to put forward a motion to approve this application with just urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much. Someone to second Ms. Adarati's motion. Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next application is item number 3, 187 Avondale Avenue. I have one speaker registered, which is the agent. I'll go by the first name. You can fill us in on the second one because I won't get it correct. So if you could, sir, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, can we get your full name and address, please?
My name is Hamia Alay Mibadi, address 2230 Lakeshore Boulevard West.
Okay, thank you, sir. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. You have a one variance request for lot coverage. Pretty clear what you're asking for. I'm just going to ask the committee if it has any questions or it would like a presentation. Okay, there being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Through you, I'll motion to approve this application. I do believe it meets the 4 tests, and I will make it subject to forestry.
Thank you very much. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion. Ms. Adirati seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now on item number 4, which is 17 Calvin Avenue. We have one person registered to speak. That is Kelly Yang Jin. Are you there? Sir, you're the agent? Hello?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, thank you
Yes?
very much,
Good morning.
madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Kelly Yang Jin, and my address is 6 Rhodes Avenue, RHODES, Toronto.
Okay, thank you very much, madam. I just wanted to ask, have you had the opportunity to read the city planning report dated May 22nd?
I have, and
Yeah,
I agree with the recommendation.
Yeah, that's the staff recommendation that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the side elevation and south and north drawings submitted to the committee and attached to their report. I'll just ask, it's very clear what you're asking for in the 6 variances before us. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or it would like a presentation. Okay, thank you. I note that there is no one else registered to speak on this item. So if I could get a motion on this application, please. Ms. Sankar?
Okay, through you, Mr. Chair, I do believe that it seems minor in nature, and I accept the staff report. So I'll motion to approve this application, subject to the staff conditions that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the side elevation south side and the north side elevation drawing submitted to the committee, and I'll make it subject to forestry.
Great, thank you very much, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion. Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning and urban forestry conditions.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
We're now on 191 Golfdale Road. That's application number 5. 191 Golfdale Road, correct. I have the agent here, Mr. Shakiri, as well as 7 registered speakers. So, sir, I suggest that you give us a presentation on what you see as the merit. Sir, are you there, Mr. Shakiri?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Sir, could I get your full name and address, please?
It's Ali Shakiri, 326 Sherwood Avenue.
Okay, and I don't know if you've had the opportunity to see the correspondence from Councillor Robinson's office. She's opposed to the application.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Yes, sir. First of all, we have carefully studied the Committee of Adjustment approvals in the area. What we are asking for is not setting a new precedent in the area. The house is actually shorter than the existing house, and it's narrower than the existing house. That's something somehow rare. Usually the new houses replacing the existing houses are, if not majorly, they're somehow larger than the existing house. What we're proposing is basically majorly shorter than the existing house because of the flat roof. And the variances, basically, the 4 variances we are asking are minor, so we believe that it's a decent, it's a reasonable proposal. So if there is any question, I'd be more than glad to answer.
Okay. Okay, thank you, sir. I have, are there any questions of the speaker? Ms. Adarati?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I have a question regarding variance number 1. The FSI is 1.71% required, so I would like to get some explanation, clarification on that.
Yes, well, as I said, we had the case study in the area, and this area is registered as 35% FSI, so I believe everyone in the planning department agrees that that is inadequate to build a new house in that area. That's why everybody is going to get some sort of additional floor area, and that 60%. We initially actually filed an application for 66%. We got contacted by the planning department. They asked us to reduce this to 60%, which to that basically so that they won't object to the application. That's what we did, and we reduced it to 60%. I have uploaded a recent approval from the committee. If the staff can display that, it's number 130 GOLFDALE Road, which has been approved just recently by the committee. They have been approved for 60%, the same as what we're asking for. What basically I'm mentioning is that we're not setting a new precedent. It's definitely up to the committee members to decide whether that's appropriate or not. And I'd like to mention that that house is also a contemporary design, and they have used a slope roof that raises the height of the house to 10 meters. So our proposal is majorly shorter than that because of the flat roof.
Sir, did you get your question answered, Ms. Adarati? Thank you. Sir, I was going to ask, are any of these variances recognizing existing conditions, or are they increases? Are you increasing them over existing conditions?
Yes, the length of the dwelling is increased to 17 meters, and that is within the bylaw. Basically, we have used whatever that the bylaw allows us as the length of the dwelling, nothing more than that, and that is not a variance, by the way. But comparing to the existing, we are shorter, we are narrower, but it is longer to the length that is allowed by the bylaw.
Okay, thank you very much. Any further questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll move to our first deputant on the list. I have a Mr. Patrick Cowie. Are you there, sir? Mr. Cowie, are you there?
Yes, it is Suzanne Tyson. I am Patrick Cowie's wife. We were the co-applicant. We decided to put one application in to speak.
Madam, can I get your full name and address, please, before you start?
Sure, Suzanne Tyson, 220 GOLFDALE Road.
Okay, thank you, madam. We're looking forward to your comments.
So we live directly across the street from Arash and Asana, the applicants, and they did not consult with us or the immediate neighbors about their plans. And if they really wanted support for their house, they would have communicated with us. And there were plenty of opportunities, including the night before we received the notice. I saw them on the street. We had a cordial discussion, in fact, about our next door neighbors' upcoming changes. And the fact that they had signatures of support from as far away as Roslyn and Teddington Park, which is actually the house that Arash's firm Enerox built, and from renters, but not from their 6 to 8 immediate neighbors. It shows they're not interested in the community nor the long-term relationships here. We'd have loved to have talked to them, and there were plenty of opportunities. But the reality is they're treating their home as a business, as Arash's firm Enerox has built several homes which they've lived in for the required amount of time and then flipped. The size is unacceptable to us, and while there are no bylaws dictating good and tasteful design, what's being torn down is a lovely character-filled neighborhood-appropriate home, and what's being proposed is an ugly box, which every day for the rest of our lives living across the street, we're going to be staring up at and into, as it's also a glass fishbowl. There's no doubt in our minds that the atrium, which is in the design, is actually a placeholder for the future securitizing of the original GFA that they wanted. We did the calculation, and there's 60%, if a minor variance is granted to close in that atrium, the open from above is closed over for living space is going to be 70% of coverage. So the reason we actually know this is a business is because I started looking at the houses Arash's firm and Rox has built before, and in doing some due diligence, discovered that his business partner is also involved with Pega Construction, which is the firm that tore down 30 old-growth trees on Bayview Avenue without a permit in 2016. And the reason this is relevant is that Arash and Asana have already cut down 2 trees at 191 GOLFDALE Road, including a huge one from their backyard, which I saw the stumps for. There was nothing wrong with it. It just had to come down to make way for the project. So given that there's no communication with any of the neighbors and there's already documented history of environmental and community blindness, we do not want this project to go ahead, and we shouldn't have to suffer the long-term consequences of their profit initiative on the house. So please do not make this a new precedent, which it is. We'll go into more detail later on that. Please reject this proposal.
Okay, thank you, madam. Any questions of the speaker? Okay, thank you. There being none, move to our next speaker on the list. I have a Mr. Scott Stevens. Are you there, sir?
I am here.
Yes, thank you, sir. You have the opportunity to make your... Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, Scott Stevens, 46 GOLFDALE Road, Toronto.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee for persevering and getting us all hooked up today. It's no small challenge, and we appreciate that you're able to do this under these circumstances at all. I'd like to make 4 points. I'll indicate what those are. First of all, let me say that I'm the president of the Teddington Park Residents Association, and that represents 400 residents in North Toronto in the vicinity of the application. The 4 objections that the TPRA has is that there's an unprecedented level of opposition to this. There's been virtually no community engagement. The proposal itself and the unprecedented massing, and then the environmental and aesthetic and quality of life issues. And I'll go into those 4 as briefly as I can. As far as the TPRA knows, all the residents on these 2 blocks of Teddington east of Mount Pleasant oppose this. We don't know of one resident that supports it. We have 9 letters of opposition, 7 from residents, 1 from Jay Robinson's office, as Mr. Chair, you've indicated, and 1 from the TPRA. We have a petition with 7 signatures, all property owners on these 2 blocks of Mount Pleasant. So very significant opposition. In terms of community engagement, the committee itself strongly advises applicants to discuss these applications with residents before they submit. As far as we know, none of that's been done. As has been mentioned, there's been plenty of opportunity. I see on the site plan that the C of A was issued on January the 13th, and it was issued for planning commencement on March the 27th. We all received the first notice of this public hearing on July the 3rd, and there has been no meeting, no phone calls, no emails, and no community engagement of any time, of any sort. It looks to us like a purposeful attempt not to engage the community. In terms of the proposal, we've spoken with a planner with Weston Consultants, and his main issue is that this is an unprecedented massing, which is very important for good planning. It'll be an imposing structure from the street, 2 very high stories with a flat roof. It extends well back of the 2 buildings on either side of it, 17 or 18 feet from both. It's only 4 feet from the property line. So from the back of these two buildings, there will be an imposing brick wall that both of the residents
Sir,
will
we're
look
losing
at,
you. Can you
and
speak up?
and that will block the sun and the privacy issues. Can you hear me now, Mr. Chair?
You're a little low.
I'll just try to speak as loud as I can.
That's better.
In terms of the environmental and quality of life issues, there's only 1,277 square feet of sod. It is a 6,250 square foot lot, so only 20% is going to be permeable soil. There were 2 large trees on the lot that when the applicant bought the lot that aren't there now, we don't know what happened to those. But there'll be less open space, less backyard views from the 2 backyards, less permeable soil, and an area in North Toronto where the water runs east down Golfdale. There have been problems with flooding in residents to the east of this proposal, and it will be exacerbated by this proposal.
Sir,
so for that reason, the
Sir, if I could add, Sir, if I could add for the benefit of everybody who's listening, is that with respect to, you made the mention of drainage, lot drainage and water flooding. The committee doesn't deal with those issues. As a matter of getting a building permit, the applicant has to submit a revised lot grading plan that shows that all of his stormwater is handled on his own property. So that's a standard condition of any approval through the building department. Okay?
Well, understood.
Okay, thank you.
And so that for those reasons, for those reasons, the TPRA objects to the application and would like to have you reject it.
Okay,
Those are the end of my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions of the speaker? Okay, thank you, sir. Our next speaker is a Mr. Paul Conway. Sir, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Sir, we've already heard from 2 other people, including the president of the Residents Association. If you could please confine your remarks to matters we haven't already heard about.
I will, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. Again,
if I could get your full name and address, please.
Okay, it's Paul Conway. I live at 185 Golfdale Road. I'm 2 houses away from the proposed
Thank you.
development. Again, just summarizing the massing of the property, the design, but just to indicate to you as well that we're not, the neighborhood is not a NIMBY neighborhood. A company by the name of Tuscan Valley has constructed and has done 3 homes on Golfdale Road. In consultation with the neighborhood, they've developed properties that are well in keeping with the architectural character of the neighborhood, and have worked very closely with the neighboring properties. Everybody is very successful, very content with what they have, what they've developed. This again, I want to emphasize. This again is a commercial undertaking by the applicants. They're basically going to build this house, leave the neighborhood, and leave us stuck with a mass and a building and a design that is totally out of keeping with the neighborhood. So again, I would ask that this application be rejected.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll just ask the committee, does it have any questions of the speaker? There being none, our next registered speaker again is a Mr. Mark Cavanaugh. Are you there, sir?
I am.
Yes, hello. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, it's Mark Cavanaugh, and it's 193 Golfdale Road.
Okay, thank you, madam. Could I get, you have the opportunity to make your views known. If you could please refrain from repeating material that's already been spoken to.
I will attempt to do so, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the opportunity to make my comments and submissions and express our vigorous opposition to this proposal. We are at 193 Golfdale Road, so we are the property adjacent to 191. We will be directly impacted by this proposal. I'm at a loss to understand Mr. Shakiri's comments that the building will not be longer or will not be taller. That's just flatly untrue. This building will extend out. If you look at the drawing, you'll see we have a small one-story addition at the back of our property. There's an original two-story and then a one-story addition. This property will extend out 16 feet beyond that and 25 feet straight up and be closer to our home. All right? It will create this massive wall effect that will dramatically impact on us in so many ways. There'll be a loss of our unobstructed views, which we now have to the east and west. There'll be a loss of natural sunlight, and there'll be a shadow effect. Instead of in the afternoon with the sun pouring in our backyard, there'll be a shadow over it. There'll be a loss of privacy. There'll be a loss of green space. Leaving aside the flooding issues, we look at green now. We've spent decades building the backyard and the garden, and to come right to the point, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, this will be devastating to us. This will destroy the loss and enjoyment of our property. I might add that there was, essentially we'll be looking at the back end of a commercial store. And I don't think that's fair or appropriate. I might add there was no redeeming features to this design, no effort to mitigate or soften the impact it would have on our enjoyment of our property. It's an imposing monolithic structure, that's all it is. And in terms of the massing effect in the backyard, it is unprecedented. I was a bit upset to hear Mr. Shakiri say this is unprecedented. There's one house on the street and there's special circumstances with respect to it. In terms of our block, from Mount Pleasant and Bayview down to Riverview, this is in Mr. Campbell's letter, the OMB has said twice, those are the 48 properties that are relevant. There's not one house in that area that's 60%. Most are far, far below. The TPRA has recommended 50%, and that's where most of the houses are. This is unprecedented. I wanted to indicate that it's completely out of character with the neighborhood. We've covered that. You've covered the fact there was no effort made at all to consult with us. We didn't even know about this until June 24th. My one final comment, Mr. Chairman, and this has been touched on already, is that there's exceptionally strong opposition to this. We did the best we could in the 4 days we could to file letters of objection. I anticipate if we had more time, we would have every house on the street objecting to this property, or virtually every house. I don't want to push it too far. Final comment, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. It seems to me the way this has been approached by these developers, both of them, is incorrect. It seems to me it's contrary to what's the intention and direction of the official plan and zoning bylaws. And to me, it's an assault on the process itself. And in my view, they should not be rewarded for what they have done and what they're trying to do to us and to our neighborhood. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there any questions of the speaker? Okay, thank you. Our next registered speaker is a Bruce Stewart. Are you there?
I'm here.
Yes, Mr. Stewart, if you could please make your views known, but I would kindly request that you please don't repeat material that's already been spoken.
I will do my best to do so.
And I could get your full name and address, please.
As you know, my wife and I live at 187 Golfdale, which is in the building immediately to the west of this proposal. We object to this proposal because the variances are so far beyond the bylaw limits that it must be considered a major change. It's not minor, and it's listed as minor. And it, of course, raises great concern to us and to all of those on the street. The owner made plans for this building months ago, yet he never discussed this with any of his neighbors. We have no information that he ever made an attempt to do so. In that time, he obtained signatures of support for his new building from persons who don't live in the neighborhood, some of which are dated, in fact, prior to any available plans. One, in fact, has an initial. There's no signature at all. Some of them, several of them, are in fact builders and real estate agents, which leads to the question of bias. How could they support a plan when it doesn't even exist? We've received notice of this meeting with plans less than 2 weeks before the meeting and considerably less time in order to give an appeal, which has allowed us insufficient time for any discussion or negotiation with the builder. And in fact, as I've said, he's offered none. The building's 7.8 meters in height. That's incompatible with a bylaw of 7.2. Follow the bylaws. Building is to have an FSI of 60% or 6.0. That's 71% over the bylaw allowance. And if you allow him 50%, it'll still be 20% over the bylaw. This produces an oversized, massive building, too high and too big for our area, inconsistent with virtually all the houses around it. Its size will block half of our garden. We'll be looking at a huge wall with less greenery, less sky. The suggested density will impact on groundwater drainage, and I know you feel that would say that's nothing to do with you people. The size of the building affects the drainage. You cannot avoid that. The building's rectangular design is actually without design or character, and it stands out starkly. It's incongruous with all of the other buildings here. The neighbors support strongly opposing this building, as has presented to you in the objections and we've heard. These variances are so large, the building is so incompatible with the neighborhood, and especially its immediate neighbors, myself and Mr. Cavanaugh, that I urge the committee to reject this plan. Thank you very much for hearing me.
A diferencia, por ejemplo, de Venezuela, que hace un enorme gasto en educación, 2.600.000 casas.
Our next speaker is Mckay. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, we do not have a Mckay under that name or the phone number they provided to the registration.
So we'll take them off the list. Last person to speak is Bruce Campbell. Are you there?
I am.
Yes, Mr. Campbell, if you could give us your full name and address, please.
It's Bruce Campbell and 237 Golfdale Road.
Okay, thank you, sir. You have the opportunity to speak, but I would emphasize again, please don't repeat stuff we've already heard. It doesn't do us any benefit. We've already heard it loud and clear before. So if there's something new you can tell us that we haven't heard before.
Well, what I would like to emphasize to the panel is the importance of the official plan in assessing this application. As you know, you're charged with maintaining the general intent and purpose of the official plan and the associated zoning. And when it comes to existing neighborhoods, the official plan is very clear. Right on page 1 of chapter 1, the commitment is made that the plan's land use designations will strengthen the existing character of the neighborhood. So I want to speak to the existing character of our neighborhood. 191 Road is situated in the heart of a neighborhood land use designation. In chapter 4 of the official plan, development criteria that apply to neighborhoods. It points out that a key objective of this plan is that new development respect and reinforce the general physical patterns in a neighborhood, and specifically embeds that objective in detail in Neighborhood Policy 5, which amongst other matters establishes that development in established neighborhoods will respect and reinforce the existing physical character of each geographic neighborhood, including in particular, and it goes on to include a long list. I won't take you through all of it, but the proposals are required to respect and reinforce prevailing heights and massing. And in my judgment, the proposal does none of that. The proposal also, under this policy, is to respect and reinforce prevailing patterns of rear yard setbacks. And again, in my submission, the proposal does not do that. Policy goes on to say that in considering a proposal, properties in the immediate context versus properties in the broader area will be considered to be of greater relevance, and that the policy continues to say no changes will be made through zoning, minor variance, consent, or other public action out of keeping with the overall physical character of the neighborhood. Does the proposal meet these tests? We say absolutely not. Not in its overall size, dimensions, and massing, which are excessive, and certainly not in its physical character, which is entirely out of character with our streetscape. The proposal neither respects nor reinforces the existing character of the neighborhood. Respect means to refrain from interfering with, and reinforce means to sustain and strengthen. In both cases, this proposal does the opposite. The combination of the excessive size and the stark block design undermine the general intent and purpose of the official plan and render this proposal both undesirable and inappropriate as a development proposal for this location. Nor can the variances being sought be seen as minor. They are the means by which this proposal would be enabled, with major impacts on the adjacent properties, as you heard. And the neighborhood physical character and its relative stability is an important amenity we continue to value and enjoy. This proposal is a significant erosion of that character and would be a substantial loss to us and our. We do not say that no redevelopment should occur. Indeed, we accept that a reasonably sized, well-designed dwelling could well be a positive. But based on all of the circumstances, we submit that this application meet any of the four relevant tests and ask the committee to deny the application. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, thank you. I'll go back. That's the end of our list of registered speakers. Mr. Shakiri, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
You have the opportunity to address the concerns raised by the previous speakers.
Sure, thank you. There were so many comments, so I have to, some of them are repetitious, so I have to categorize them and answer them one by one. Regarding the contacting the neighbors, I think it wasn't mentioned by any of the neighbors that we actually were in touch with the neighbors, and Mr. Cavanaugh, who's residing on number 193, I personally was on phone with him on weekend of July 4th for 58 minutes, and I answered all his questions. He called me later this week, and well, I just picked up the phone. I told him I would call him back. I called him back, he didn't answer. We had meetings with Bruce and Paul. They can confirm that Monday earlier this week for like more than an hour, and we explained everything and answered the questions, whether or not they were satisfied with their answers. But we did actually meet the owners. Regarding some of the comments are related to the technical issues which the building department deals with. That I'd rather just leave them out. The shadow impact of the house, I would like to talk about. This house cannot be any better when it comes to, for the neighbors, when it comes to shadowing, because this is not tall. This is only 7.78 or it's shorter than the existing building by a couple of meters. And thanks to the flat roof, we are not casting much shadow on the neighbors. I explained that to Mark when we were on the phone, and also to Bruce and Paul, that this house, comparing to what we can build as of right, with 10-meter height allowance of a sloped roof, is casting majorly less shadow. So it's much friendlier to the two neighboring houses when it comes to making the shadow. So other things controlling the shadow impact is if the building is longer than we are allowed to build, it is not. If the building is wider than we are allowed to build, on the front side, yes, that is not casting shadow. But if you look at the, if the staff be kind enough to show the site plan, you can see that building is narrowing at the back side. So on the back side, we are complying with both side yards, the 5 feet, and the house is not longer than 17 meters that we are allowed to have. And the roof is flat. So but basically, I friendly advised Mark when I was on the phone with him that I mean, as a suggestion, I would actually support the application, but ask the committee to tie the decision, any decision or approval to the drawing, so one cannot actually build it any taller, because what we have sacrificed here as a height is major. Regarding to Mr. Kamali and his intentions about this development, first of all, I don't think if anything is wrong with anyone having any agenda to make a profit on a lot. Having said that, Mr. Kamali has been living in this house with his family. All the neighbors can confirm that for several years. Their son Cyrus is going to TFS, and they are intending to reside on that property for foreseeable length in future. And what they're building is for themselves. I think anyone familiar with developments or making a profit out of a lot can confirm that non-profit is written all over this project. This could be majorly taller than this. It is not. They could have basically asked for much higher GFA and or FSI, and knowing that the committee would refuse something like not reasonable, going to TLAB and seek an approval from TLAB. They didn't do that. They simply complied. And when we got the comment from the planning that we had to actually bring it down from 66% to 60.
30 seconds, sir.
It was,
please
yeah,
summarize.
It was very hard for, sure, it was very hard for them to accept it, but you know, I explained it to them, it's very difficult to answer all these comments in 5 minutes. I listened for 45 minutes, so but I'd be more than glad to answer any question.
Okay, thank you, sir. I've just been advised that one of our deputants who wasn't there before is now here. They are scheduled to speak, so I'm going to let them speak. Is there a Win Mckay there?
I am.
Mr. Mckay, can I get your full name and address?
Winfield Mckay, Winfield, Mckay, Mckay, 230 Golfdale Road.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm sure you've heard all the discussions that have been going on beforehand in the presentations from your neighbors. You have, if you want to make a presentation to us, I strongly recommend that you don't repeat stuff we've already heard. It's not necessary. We've already heard it loud and clear. So if you have something new to tell us, can you please tell us?
Nope, I'm in total agreement with everything that's being brought forward. I'm not sure if we got onto the discussion of the people that signed off in favor of this, but they don't seem to be participants in our neighborhood. That's really all I can add.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Any questions of the speaker? Thank you very much. We'll take the matter into committee. Could I get a motion on this application, please? Please note that there are, the only comments we have from the city department are from urban forestry. So if I could get a motion on this application, please, Ms. Sankar.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I've heard the neighbors loud and clear, and I think the councillor mirroring what has been said does not convince me, especially in the response from the applicant, that this is minor or that it's desirable for the appropriate development of the land or meets the official plan. I also note that the very immediate neighbors are the ones that do have the concern, especially the east and west side. It's very difficult for me to say I can fully support this application. I motion to refuse this application.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion to refuse the application. Just before I get a second on that, I'm going to check with Mr. Wills. Mr. Wills, is Mr. Khan there? Are we okay with Mr. Khan?
He does appear to be there, but if he'd like to say something right now, just to see if his microphone's working, go ahead, Mr. Khan.
Okay, thank you, sir. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you, Mr. Khan.
We've got.
Okay,
Okay, hang on
I
just,
second
Mr. Khan,
Ms.
just a moment.
Schenker's motion.
You'll second the motion, Mr. Khan?
Yes, sir, I will.
Okay. So just to iterate, Ms. Sankar, you're recommending refusal? Okay, and Mr. Khan, you second that motion?
Yes, I will second that motion.
Okay. All those in favor? That motion carries, sir. Your application has been refused. Thank you very much. We're now on item number 6, 207 Lord Seaton Road. We only have one person registered for this particular application, and that's Mr. Rubinoff. Sir, are you there?
Good morning. This is Glenn Rubinoff. I'm the
Yes.
agent for the homeowner.
Mr. Rubinoff, could you speak up a bit?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Perfect. I wanted to ask, have you read the Transportation Services and City Planning reports? The one from Transportation Services dated 8th of May recommends refusing variance number 6, which relates to the, it's the second driveway, I believe, the front yard parking in the front yard. They're opposed to that. And we also have comments from City Planning dated the 29th of June, and they're also recommending refusing variance number 6 relating to the front yard parking. And they want that area restored as soft landscaping.
Yes, I am familiar with those comments. I'd like to address them if I might.
Sure, okay. Well, if you could give us a brief presentation on why you don't see any merit in those two departments' comments.
Okay, well, first of all, there's two elements. There's the change of the driveway onto the other street, where onto Masters Road, the new garage there, which they have no opposition to. They're not concerned about that. The existing driveway is currently that driveway on Lord Seaton. There's a map that we submitted which shows some green. It shows the landscaping. It's in the folder there. I don't know if you can put that up on the screen, but this lot there's a lot of green space on the property. The main concern expressed was the amount of green space, but we did a map and we submitted it to the AIC, and it shows, as you can see right there, it shows the curb cut for the driveways on the side, and it shows the existing curb cut on the front. But as you can see, it's very close to, like, the driveways on the side. This is primarily a green lot. We have very little hard surface space on the property. The existing driveway on Lord Seaton can certainly be rebuilt as permeable pavers. But the reason for that, and this is the most important thing just from looking at the map here, is the side street parking only has about 10 feet there. You cannot park a car on the driveway on the side. There were letters submitted by neighbors, and their concern originally was the parking pad on Lord Seaton, but when my client went and spoke to them, they all withdrew their opposition. There were 3 letters of opposition. Now there are 7 letters of support and 0 letters of opposition from the immediate neighbors. And the reason for that is because they said, well, we don't want you parking on the street. We'd rather you have that parking pad in front. It'll allow a visitor to park properly without encroaching on the street. So they all my client went and spoke to all these neighbors, and they all said, yeah, now that we understand, we agree that this is a better position. So they all support the parking pad on Lord Seaton to be maintained. The other, so that was That's variance number 6. That's what we're talking about, is the front pad. With regards to everything else, the staff report has no concerns with the, or transportation. Neither of them have concerns with the parking on Masters. So I don't really feel that that's much of a concern. There's been other houses in the area which have gone to committee and have been approved for that width of driveway. I think it really just comes back to the fact that, you know, we did consult with the neighborhood, with the people affected, and they were all supportive of what we were approaching to do, or proposing to do. I also want to point out that there's a memo from Forestry. Originally, they had a concern with regards to asking for refusal, but they've since, there was a tree that was indicated, which was removed by the city, that they had not gone out to verify themselves. So they've since sent in a memo basically stating that they no longer object to this application. So Forestry is now on board. All the neighbors are on board with this. It really just comes down to the question of that front pad. And my argument is that the concern and the reasoning for it was a lack of green space on the property, but my submission is that there's plenty of green space on the property. And to further alleviate any concerns, we would be happy to go to permeable pavers on that, in that nature, as a condition. But the neighbors would prefer to see.
Can you summarize, sir?
Yeah, just wanted to say that the neighbors would prefer to see the file as presented to be approved. And that's my presentation.
Okay, thank you, sir. I had a question. I'm just curious. When I was out to see the property, I noticed that there certainly are driveways there with vehicles parked on them, but most of these driveways lead to a garage and or garages. But in this particular case, the driveway you're proposing the variance for doesn't lead to a garage, and you already have a 3-car garage proposed for the building. I'm just curious, how many cars do these people own?
No, it's not about, first of all, you know, the garages are for their own personal use. They don't, generally, you have a space in front of the garage that people who are visiting can temporarily park there. We don't have that option here. And it's not about creating a parking pad on that street. It is about maintaining an existing curb cut there. The transportation's happy with the driveway to be removed because with the garages and driveway to be relocated to the side street. It's a factor of you know, it's a busy neighborhood, and having a space for people, temporary visitors. That's really what it's about. It's not about having any permanent parking space on Lord Seaton. But it is an existing curb cut, so that character, that impact is very much minor.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rubinoff. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, there is no one else registered to speak on this item. Could I get a motion on the application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, you know, while this application doesn't have any letters of opposition, I don't see any of the letters of support for which the applicant is stating that the public is saying all of these things. I have before me a staff report, and I have before me a letter from transportation as well as forestry, and that's what I'm going to use to base my decision. So my decision today is to approve the application, but I will make it subject to the staff report in that the I can repeat what the staff report says, that variance number 6 be refused, that the existing driveway as labeled on the site plan to be restored to soft landscaping, and that the proposal be developed in accordance with the front setback measurements shown on the site plan, and this will be subject to forestry. That's my motion.
If I could add, Ms. Sankar, there's also a recommended condition from Transportation Services that there be notations on the site plan drawing stating that all portions of existing site access driveways that are no longer required must be closed and restored with soft landscaping and full concrete curbs to the satisfaction of Transportation Services. Would you like to put that as a condition?
I would like, yes, I would like to add that as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion. Ms. Adarati seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Mr. Rubinoff, your application has been approved with the exception of variance number 6, which are subject to the conditions of urban forestry, and your application is also approved subject to urban forestry, transportation services, and city planning conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're now on item number 7, 82 Sherwood Avenue. I have one person registered to speak here, and that is the agent, Mr. Tom Sprague. Sir, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I just wanted to ask if you've had the opportunity to read the city planning report of July 1st that recommends the property be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing. You've seen
yes, very much. In fact, we've had, I've seen it, and we've actually had a lot of communication with them, and so that's not a problem to make it a conditional decision.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I note that there's no one here, there is no one registered to speak on this item other than yourself. So does the committee have any questions of the speaker, or would it like a presentation? No? That being the case, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Adarati?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I want to put forward a motion to approve this application with the staff condition that the property be developed substantially according with the site plan drawings submitted to the Committee of Adjustments and also subjected to urban forest.
Thank you very much, Ms. Adarati. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously, sir. Your application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. We're now on item number 8, 19 APSLEY Road, which has been deferred. We are now on jumping ahead to item number 9, 36 SHOULDICE COURT. And I have, just a moment here. I have a Rabi Menima. I'm not going to get that spelt correctly. So, sir, are you there? Could I get your name and address, please?
Mr. Chair, we do not have this agent on the line at the moment. We are going to try to contact them again to see if they can. So can we hold this to the end?
Okay, so what I'll do, Ms. Reed, is I'll put this one on hold. I'll jump ahead to item number 10.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll jump ahead to item number 10. The agent for number 9 isn't here presently or not connected. So we'll jump ahead to item number 10, which is 195 Erskine Avenue. And I note that we have one person registered to speak here on this item, which is Louis Orazem. Are you there, sir?
I am.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Yes, could you speak up, sir? It's a little hard to hear you.
Okay, I will try and speak up here.
That's perfect. Thank you.
I hope you can hear me.
Thank you. Could I get your full name and address, please?
Louis Orzum, 270 Belfield Road, Toronto.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm just going to ask if you've seen the staff reports. There's one from Transportation Services dated May 5th, where they're recommending refusal. And there's also one of dated City Planning, July 1st, which recommends that permeable materials are to be used to surface the proposed driveway. Have you seen those memoranda, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have read both of those reports.
Okay, you're aware of what Transportation Services said?
I am aware of their recommendation.
Okay, now, I've taken a look at your application, sir, and that front yard parking is almost entirely on the municipal road allowance. Have you had the opportunity to discuss this with Transportation Services?
We have not, so I do understand that even if you approve the application for the variance, there will still be another permit required from transportation.
Yeah, but
Sir,
sir,
may not issue.
I want to emphasize, it's another process where you have to pay another fee and you'll probably have to go to City Council. So,
Correct, I understand. The original intent of this application was to be able to build a small house addition at the
sir, I'm
back.
having trouble hearing you. Can you speak up?
Yes, the original purpose of this application was to build a house addition at the rear of the house, and the homeowner asked me to add the parking space on as an additional item. So we are aware that there will be additional processes, even if the committee sees fit to approve the variances.
Well, we can approve the variances, but that's, the issue, that doesn't get you your front yard parking. And
I understand.
Yeah, technically your parking's illegal. Your parking is actually on the municipal road allowance. So the committee doesn't have any jurisdiction over that. So
correct. And it will require an additional permit.
So I'm warning you, there's another process you'll have to go through in order to legalize that. That's going to cost you more money, and it's not for certain that it'll get approved.
I do understand that.
So if you want to go forward, that's fine. But you're going forward knowing that there is that caveat, and the other option is to defer the application and discuss this further with Transportation Services. I just don't want to see you paying more money, sir, for something you don't have to do.
Right,
It's up to you. So would you like to proceed, or would you like to proceed, or would you like to defer?
We would like to proceed because we have a house addition that my
Okay, all right
client
then,
is
sir.
eager to have built.
Okay, I'll just note that we have no one else registered to speak on this particular application. I'll just ask the committee, would it like a presentation, or does it have any questions? Ms. Sankar?
Mr. Chair, I do want a small presentation because I'm not prepared here to approve this application with the comments from transportation, and the client has refused to defer. So,
okay,
yes.
Thank you. Sir, you have the opportunity to make a presentation to the committee. You have 5 minutes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So we have before you two proposals. One is for a variance for floor space index, which is to allow a small extension to the second story of the house. That variance is in keeping with other variances that have been granted in that neighborhood. Specifically, the neighbor at 193 received approval for that same type of variance 10 years ago, and there's no objections for planning with that. The other application is to allow a front yard parking space, and my client's reasons for requesting that is that parking on that street is very difficult. At times, there are numerous people that are parking on that street with 1 week passes that don't even live in that area. And there are additional developments proposed. There's a 7 townhouse project proposed around the corner that is going to put a further strain on parking in that area. And for those reasons, my client would like to have a dedicated parking space.
Okay, sir. I'm going to emphasize again that we're only approving if we approve this application, it's only for that piece of front yard parking that's on your own property. We can't approve the portion of the front yard parking that's on municipal road allowance. You understand that. That's the risk.
Yes, I absolutely understand that.
And you
My
could still
clients-
get turned down by transportation services.
I understand that it requires a separate
Okay,
permit
thank you.
from
I just
them.
want you to be perfectly clear that you've agreed to go ahead here, and Ms. Sankar's emphasized that as well. So anyhow, I'll just ask the other members of the committee if they have any further questions of the speaker. Okay, thank you. There is no...
Can I ask one question?
Yes, Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. Sir, I would like to know, do you have any privacy concern with your neighbor of 193?
What do you mean by privacy concerns?
Means when you are building a addition, then there is an overlook and you look into the privacy of other people in the backyard and all that.
So the house already has a one-story at the back, and there is this second-story addition that's proposed that would extend the second floor back as far as the main floor. But there is already a balcony at the back that people can walk out on and look into the backyard.
Yeah,
And
that is what I'm getting at. That you
secondly, the homeowner at number 195 built the exact same addition and received the same variance approximately 10 years ago.
Sir, I'm not here to for the that reference, but I'm talking about neighbor at 193. Did you discuss the privacy at all? Or if you are putting a second edition, your balcony will be overlooking the people who will be using their backyard in 193.
Well, we're not putting in a balcony. We're just there's a door. There's a door with a Juliet balcony. But no, there's no concerns with the neighbor. I do know the neighbors. I actually built their house addition 10 years ago.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Committee, if we take this matter into committee, we do have, as I emphasized, we have a recommendation from Transportation Services that is recommending a number of the variances be refused, and those are related to the front yard parking pad, and that's variances number 2, 4, and 5. And you also have a recommendation from City's Planning dated July 1st, which recommends refusal, but if we do approve the application, that we put permeable materials in the front yard parking pad. So if I could get a motion on this application, please. Ms. Sankar?
Mr. Chair, I mean, when I look at what Transport has said, and I don't see the major comments or evidence to help explain that better to me from the applicant, and I see what City is proposing and I see what's left over in the variances, this application to me does not make much sense. And I'm just not hearing what I need to feel supportive of this. For that reason, I'll motion to refuse this application altogether.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Sir, your application is refused with Ms. Adorati dissenting. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We're now on I'll go back to item number 9, 36 Shouldice Court. Is the agent there?
Yes, we are.
Yes, Solo, thank you, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, we are the owner for 36 Shouldice Crescent, and I'm Zaina Elhami speaking, and my husband is Rabi Namni sitting right next to me.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just I note that what you're asking for is very straightforward. No question about how clear these applications are. There have been no comments submitted from city departments. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or it would like a presentation. And we have no one registered to speak on this item.
And I can add, if I may, I have in my possession support letters from my neighbor on the east side and the west side.
Yeah, I believe we have those. I believe we have
and I
them
also
in
have a permit from forestry.
Okay, thank you. Since there is no one registered to speak on this item, could I get a motion, please? Ms. Sankar?
Okay, through you, Mr. Chair, looking at this application, I do believe that I could work with what they've proposed here. I will motion to approve the application. It will be subject to number one, forestry, of course. Forestry has put forward something here. And I believe it is and please correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Chair, the staff report of July 1st. That the property be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan west side elevation and front elevation drawings submitted to the committee, and the permeable materials be used for the proposed driveway.
Ms. Sankar, I'm missing something. That's not, I don't have those conditions on 36 Shouldice Court, item number 9.
Okay, I am so sorry.
No problem.
I pulled down a little too much sooner, and that's what I thought. Okay, sorry,
No sweat.
Mr. Chair. I get it now. I understand what I've done wrong. I motion to approve this application.
Okay, thank you very much. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Ms. Adorati seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Madam, your application has been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are now on item number 11, 167 Coldstream Avenue. I have only one person registered to speak here on this particular item, and that's Mr. Lorne Rose. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, have you had the opportunity to read the staff report from City Planning dated July 1st, wherein they recommend that you develop substantially in accordance with the site plan, west side elevation and front elevation drawings, and that permeable materials are used for surfacing the driveway?
Yes, I have, and we worked hard with planning to achieve that.
Okay, there's also a report from 20 May from Transportation Services, and they're recommending referral because they want the driveway revised. I don't know if you had the opportunity to see that report.
Yes, I have. It was written May 20th, but not posted till, I think, July. Anyway, that's because of COVID, I assume. I have reached out to them, and they were not responding. I spoke to them yesterday. Their concern is really that the combined width of the two driveways, because it's a circular driveway, does not 9 meters. I've offered 9.5 meters. They haven't responded to that. Having said that, I assume we cannot get a building permit without their permission. The variance we're seeking is for a driveway that is the width of the parking space plus a foot on either side. If you can imagine, most driveways are not as wide as the garage doors. There's a little bit extra space. So I don't think they're objecting to the width of the driveway. They're objecting to the width of the combined driveway width on city property, on the city boulevard.
Okay, so the issue is, sir, that we just deal with the stuff on private property.
Correct.
The issue with the public road allowance, you can still hash out with them in the future, should committee decide to approve the application. So you understand the risk.
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. I'll just ask the committee, does it have any questions of the speaker? No, we have no one registered to speak, and there are a number of variances here, but it's pretty clear what they're asking for. Pardon me. I'll just ask the committee if I could get a motion on this application. Again, there's no one registered to speak. Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I believe this is the one that I wanted to comment on. I do believe that this works for me in terms of meeting the 4 tests. I will motion to approve it, but I will make it subject to the staff recommendations that the property be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan. West side elevation and front elevation drawings submitted to the committee. Permeable materials be used for the proposed driveway. It will still be subject to forestry, and as Mr. Rose knows, it will be subject to transportation in terms of their review in the future as he moves forward.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been approved subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions. Please remember you'll have to deal with transportation services regarding the width of the driveway and the public road allowance.
I will. Thank you, and I want to send my condolences
to
Ms. Gray. She was a great member.
We're now on our last item for the morning agenda, which is item number 12, 108 Albertus Avenue. And I have 3 people registered to speak, and the agent is a gentleman named Mr. Ben Guam. I hope I've said that right. Sir, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I am, yeah. It's Ben Guam, yeah.
Okay, sir, I'm going to just bear with me here because we have a staff report that has some indicates that you've agreed to make some revisions to your application.
Yes, yeah, we
now,
spoke
can I get your full name and address, please?
My name is Ben Guam at 219 Dufferin 3A.
Okay, now I'm just going to go through what was in their July 1st report. You can tell me if this is what the modifications you're asking for. You want to modify variance number 1. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. If you could go through and indicate what those revisions are.
Well, actually, if we could, we'd like to actually defer this this application, if that's possible. I tried to defer online, but they say I just missed the date, so I had to come on to the committee to do so.
And if I could ask the reason for the deferral?
Well, the owner of the property is they're actually living in Sweden right now, so it's been a little bit difficult to communicate clearly with them back and forth. So they would just like a little bit more time to sort of look at the changes that we've made. I did get reports from planning. We've gone through. I've made a lot of concessions with planning to satisfy what they were looking for. There's still some question as to. There's still some questions that the owner would like to work out with me further.
Okay, thank you. I'll just ask, we have a number of people here who are registered to speak on the item. They would now be commenting on the matter of a deferral. I'll just ask before I go there, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, thank you. I have a Mr. Andrew Matheson. Are you there, sir?
Mr. Chair, can I ask him a question?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Khan, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I would ask him, has he considered item number 5, modifying the...
No, Mr. Khan, the applicant is asking to defer the application.
Oh, he's asking for the deferral. Okay, sir. Thank you. I'm very sorry.
Okay, thank you. Is a Mr. Matheson there?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee.
Can I get your full name and address, please, sir?
Yes, it's Andrew Matheson, Mathson. We're at 110 Albertus.
Okay, thank
the
you, sir.
immediate westerly neighbor.
Okay, thank you.
And
The applicant
a
is,
specific concern laid in a written submission. However, if the request is for a deferral, we wouldn't stand in the way of that. We support the
sir, you're
staff
breaking up.
report
We're having trouble
recommendation.
hearing you.
Sorry, can you?
You're breaking up, sir. We can't hear you.
We do not oppose the deferral. We would just ask for reasonable notice as to any revisions so we have a fair opportunity to respond.
Yes, what will happen, sir, is there'll be a brand new notice circulated once the, again, after, when he's put on another agenda. There'll be a brand new notice circulated to the neighborhood. It will probably, it'll undoubtedly contain the changes that the applicant is proposing.
Okay, and then if I may just say one last thing. I realize the notice comes through the website. It would be helpful if we had additional notice because it's difficult to digest all of the technical information in the short period of time that's provided.
There's just the standard notice that goes out, sir. It's the function of the requirements of the Planning Act. So it'll go to the...
Understood, but what I'm conveying is that the owner and the agent can provide information. In particular, what we've requested is that there's some consultant consultation between the
Okay, can you...
engineers.
Sir, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Particular concern.
So would you like the applicant to consult with the neighbors? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes. As
Okay,
we've
thank you.
requested, it would be good for the engineers to consult with each other.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the speaker? There being none, the next registered speaker is Wen Lee. Are you there?
I'm here. This is Wendy, and owner of 106 Albertus.
Okay, thank you, madam. The agent is asking for a deferral. He has to make some changes to his plans and has to consult with his client. So he's requesting a deferral. Do you object to a deferral?
Before I say yes or no, I want to know that they're always oversee. So oversee it is not a good reason to defer.
Okay,
and I hope the next one, because we put time aside, because next time he probably use a more valid reason for the deferral.
Madam, the applicant has the right to ask for a deferral.
Sure. I just want to point out the reason. And again, I agree with Andrew on the other side of this parking. This has not been consulted with both sides of the neighbor. If they do wish to move forward,
Madam, are you opposed to the deferral or are you okay with it? Yes or no?
I will oppose.
Okay,
if they
thank you. Thank you.
communicate.
Thank you. Can I get a motion on the deferral request, please? Ms. Adirati?
So through you, Mr. Chair, I want to put forward a motion to defer this application so that the applicant can have enough time to consult with the neighbors and discuss more details about this application. Sine die.
Thank you very much, Ms. Adirati. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application has been deferred sine die so that you have the opportunity to discuss the revised application with your client as well as with the affected neighbors, and I would also suggest with the planning department as well. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could I just say one last thing?
Pardon me?
If there's a way that I could get, obviously I don't want to be going and knocking on next door neighbors' doors during COVID. If the next door neighbors are
sir,
okay
I
with
can't
me
tell
doing
you
that,
how to consult. Okay, you'll have to. That's something you'll have to figure out for yourself. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, committee, we are deferred till 1:30. Thank you very much.
Back with refreshment, back with fun, and back with all your faves. medium McCafe iced coffee for $1 plus tax, and small real fruit smoothies for $2 each plus tax. Only at McDonald's McCafe.
This Dyson high-speed hypodymium motor and